Oh no. Well, I've learned one thing today, is that being funny on the fly is hard. If this is gonna be my first ramble, well, may as well do it right? I'm gonna be talking about stuff I like, so I may as well get good at talking first. I can move on to liking things later. If I'm gonna learn how to talk, well, I guess I'll have to figure out how others talk. What can be a great reference point, though, for the very first time?
Cool thing about these guys is that they have really long fronts.
Okay, maybe I should start taking actual notes.
Want to make videos online?
I've got time.
Ever since 2005, YouTube has been nothing short of being one of the biggest platforms on the internet to get into. You could have the highest production value with the best cameras and high budget set design, or it could be sitting in your room with an iPhone. The second you hit upload, you're a YouTuber.
What?
As a result, really anyone can hit it big on the platform if they're willing to go at it hard enough, and what better examples are there than the ones who make it? You know you've made it when you reach the point where being an entertainer on the internet escalates from not just a side hobby, but into a potential career. Naturally, everyone that has any interest would like to reach that point, though very few actually understand what that means. These guys work hard to be where they are, marketing themselves, praying to the algorithm, and doing everything they can to sustain their livelihood. I have immense respect for them and what they do, but one thing I love to look at is where they came from.
Probably could have worded that better. Not everybody starts out perfect, but more than likely, everyone will remember their first time. At least that's what I read here. Debut videos, whether amazing, horrendous, or downright weird, often have this interesting charm to it. I like to watch them and think about what may have been going through the creator's head when they were initially recording it. Whether it be that it was something that they found funny, or they found something meaningful to say about it. Not only that, but it can be pretty inspiring to look at their newer stuff and think about how much they've changed, you know? So let's take a look at some content creators, mainly ones that I myself watch a lot, and see what their earliest endeavors on the website looked like. I'm in no rush, that's for sure.
How about we start with probably one of the first guys I personally think of when the idea of commentary gaming comes up.
Hey guys, it's Chuggaconroy.
I love it when he does that. 2008 was a different time. Obama became president? Remember when YouTube had a time limit? Yeah, back then YouTube would only allow people to upload up to 10 minutes per video to avoid people ripping out television shows or movies and throwing them up on the site. Unless Emile was really opting to make 100+ episodes of him playing a single game, it was more optimal to kind of glaze over details, making the playthrough just a way of watching someone play a game, rather than watching someone take an in-depth look at it. His first playthrough was 99 episodes long, so I think he accomplished his goal. It was clear he wanted to go more in depth as he kept doing the playthroughs, but was a bit held back by limitations of the site. Good to know he's covering his legal bases early on. I thought I was going to have to not do that to start off well. YouTube would eventually up the limit to 15 minutes in July of 2010, and then announced in December that same year that selected channels would have the limit removed entirely. With the implementation of the Content ID system and copyrighted material becoming easier to take care of, it wouldn't be long until everyone could upload up to multiple hours of content in one go. Taking a look at his episode length and count per game after 2010, it's clear Emile would start to take advantage of this as he'd go through the game a lot more slowly while giving his thoughts and insight on really anything. Further on, he'd even start covering bigger games that warrant both longer videos and a whole lot of them. 100 episodes, try 200! There's a charm to the way he does his videos, making light gags, providing insight about the game's history and development, explaining the game's mechanics and features in clear and concise ways, all while still playing the game in real time. That's a skill that I've yet to unlock. If you ask me to talk and play games at the same time, don't expect much. As you can see, you could just do a super PU out. And bazaar, you make it up here. Now I'm not sure what you can do up here. While I did eventually lose interest in his videos as I grew up, I can't even remember why, because as I come to his more current stuff, he's still Chuggaconroy. It's probably because he started doing series I personally just wasn't invested in. But that's just a me problem. He's still fun to listen to, and I still love learning about all the nooks and crannies of the games he plays. Comparing the past to now, he has evolved a bunch, just in very small ways. He never switched up his video style, attempted to be trendy, or outright ditched his old ways. Instead, he has spent his time refining how he does his videos in the best possible way. Packing in more information and insight, cutting out gameplay fluff whenever he's commentating in real time, adding in more editing to provide visuals and better explain what he's talking about. It all amounts to a channel that is the very epitome of a modernized walkthrough.
He may not be this huge spotlight in the gaming community nowadays. The YouTube algorithm just does not work with his upload schedule at all. But from what I can tell, he's well respected, cherished, and very much appreciated. And that's always nice to see. Too bad I can't go back on this.
So how about a game reviewer? Nitro Rad. I love this guy's content, looking at games that have a much more niche appeal with a glass half full type of mentality. The kind of energy he has when it comes to analyzing video games is always something I can get behind. How would he start?
I have less questions than I thought I would.
So we started on Core, at least that's as far back as I can find. From what it looks like, he did short comical videos of him doing whatever he wanted. And if that doesn't describe any child's endeavor on YouTube, I don't know what does. The channel's actually still pretty active, and they're still pretty funny as far as my brain goes.
Cyber Brady?
When he started Nitro Rad?
Hey, it's Nitro Rad here.
Whoa, he scared me.
He looks so awkward and insecure, but that's adorable. I gotta say, he really polished up his videos quickly. Themed intros, a clearer microphone. I remember watching all of his Silent Hill videos and thinking those were recent when they were actually among one of his earlier videos.
Than just, you know? So I'm not.
No, I don't.
His stuff nowadays isn't too far of a departure from when he first started, at least as far as Nitro Rad specifically is concerned. Other than going a lot more in depth and further polishing his videos, experience would allow a more witty and confident James to exist today. I'd also like to point out how he often sets up his room to have an atmosphere that matches with the game he looks at. I just think it's a really neat touch that gives each video its own flavor.
Happy to see that he's doing well. I even got his Patreon. It's a $1 a month ordeal where I basically get to just ask him a question every time they do this monthly podcast. Oh wait, that means I can ask him the question I've been always meaning to ask. I don't know when they're gonna answer, so I'll just leave my own answer for now.
Back when I was living and breathing Minecraft, I would watch so many Minecraft YouTubers and their funny highlights. The main two people I'd give attention to would have to be BajanCanadian and JeromeASF. Mitch and Jerome respectively, arguably one of the most well-known duos during Minecraft's peak in 2014. Think I'm lying?
The zipper may be broken, but I'm still making back my parents' investment on this thing.
My parents actually bought me a signed JeromeASF shirt, but since I chose the biggest size and nearly a decade later it could still be too big for me, I put in a quilt.
I will be making back my parents' investment on this thing.
Today I'll be showing you how to find Earth and the our solar system in Spore. So I'm zooming
We've
in
got
right
a
now.
lot to unpack
It'll be
here.
named
These two didn't exactly start on their Minecraft channels, they actually started on Awesome Sauce Films, which was more of a group channel revolving around Call of Duty, Halo, and other shooting games, all run by a group of 6 friends. These videos are such a nice time capsule nowadays, and definitely give off that silly friends just goofing around vibe. If you ever want to know what it was like being a kid from 2009 to 2011, you could totally give these a quick view. It showed me everything I wasn't, because this is everything I was. A child. In around 2013, these guys would move on to their own individual channels where Mitch and Jerome would just explode all over the Minecraft community. They'd go through a lot of changes as the years passed. They'd both keep switching between being kid-friendly, PG-13, or just going full-on filter-free. Thankfully, 11-year-old Chris was there during their PG-13 era, and 15-year-old Chris was there during their TVY era. Going through the life of their channels would be a movie's worth of content, so let's skip to the present day. They are not in the spotlight nearly as much in comparison to their early 2010 counterparts, but it looks like they've still managed to settle in a very nice place. Mitch is not uploading nearly as much nowadays, but hey, he's engaged, good for him. Jerome is still doing his thing, lots of 4 channels? Yeah, he's still going at it on YouTube, but I've gotta say, I commend him for the commitment. His content caters toward the younger side a bit more, and while that doesn't really appeal to me personally,
So that's what it feels like to be 20.
I don't think their content nowadays should really be considered inferior, just clearly for a different demographic. These thumbnails may not be saying anything to me, but I'm sure it would have been 15 years ago. Guess it goes to show how much I've grown out of them. I think. Why not tackle the biggest fish for the last one? If there's anything WePlay has taught me, they give me the most points. If you somehow didn't know, PewDiePie is the most subscribed YouTube channel that isn't run by a corporation at a staggering 111 million. Do you think he could win a war with the Philippines? The man is high up at the top and seemingly doing very well. It really makes you wonder where he first truly began on YouTube. Such a cozy place to begin, just a funny moment Felix is sharing with a friend. He'd do a ton of Let's Play videos, mainly horror game stuff, and it's noticeable just how much of a ball of energy this guy can be on camera. As time went on, he'd throw an attempt at various other video types, but Let's Plays were the primary focus of his channel. Fast forward to the present, and he now does, basically, whatever he wants, and while his content used to not interest me personally, I was hooked by his book review.
I just hope at some point he reads Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. I know I haven't.
It's pretty interesting what this man has accomplished after dedicating more than a decade to this kind of career, and how he has influenced YouTube as a whole, since anyone that goes on the site for any notable amount of time has probably at the very least heard of him, or occasionally watches a video or two. Say what you will about his content or his controversies, the man is clearly doing something right, and if it's entertaining millions of people around the world in a positive way, I really don't see any issues with it. Don't know what his problem with lasagna is though.
One can look at all these guys making such high quality videos and being self-conscious about their own, but if what I've shown today proves anything, it's that the first video is never perfect. So don't worry too much about whether or not your first video is perfect or not. Just worry about making sure it's something you care about and find joy in creating. Because if you're trying to make videos but aren't having any fun making them, then is it worth it to work so hard and invest so much into something that just won't guarantee a future? If you have a camera and a will to create, go for it! Forget continuity! It's what's got me into trying this stuff out. In fact, thanks to looking at all those videos, I finally have the material I need. Alright, it looks like I finally managed to finish writing my very first script. Today, we're going to be talking about unemployment.